flourishers. Hey, just gonna wait for a little bit and see anybody comes on. Just gonna wait for a moment. I'm excited to share this with you. Happy Friday, by the way. Happy Faith Friday. Getting some messages. Happy Faith Friday. I hope that your week, your first week of January 2017 has gone well. And that you've learned something that you can take forward with you during the rest of the year. But today, what I want to talk about is that God qualifies the called. I'm sure this is something that you have heard before. You know, God doesn't call the qualified, He qualifies the called. And the reason why I am talking about this today, it wasn't really my intention to talk about this. Hey, Naomi, my London sister, how are you? Okay. Right, the reason why I'm talking about this today is because over the last few days, I've been thinking about my own journey. Hey, I've been thinking about my own journey. And how I started doing what I do now because of a personal storm that I went through. So I went through the storm. I went through the storm of falling ill. And before that, I was a full-time teacher. And falling ill wasn't on my agenda. It wasn't, obviously, it's not on anybody's agenda. And when I was in that storm, I thought, well, that's it. That's the end for me. You know, all of my plans are basically for naught. And truth be told, I actually didn't have any plans. I was kind of just floating along. And it was that experience of being ill and suffering in that storm, and suffering not necessarily because I was ill, but because of what I experienced around that. The lack of support, the lack of knowledge, the lack of love and wisdom. That was really what brought me to a place where I was like, actually, no, nobody should ever have to feel like this. Nobody should ever have to walk alone. Nobody should ever have to feel like they're a failure because they're experiencing a health crisis and they're a believer and they're Christian. So God used that storm in order to qualify me to do what I do now. And I know that there's like this big debate. I know there's big debate about, you know, especially in coaching world, should you go with a coach who has got their qualifications, or should you go with a coach who has got the experience? And okay, both have their pros and cons. For me, if you go with a coach who has qualifications, generally they're going to have to practice their coaching skills, and they've got the theory to back it up as well. But there is something about going through your own personal storm, your own personal experience that uniquely qualifies you to support somebody else. And so I know that when we tend to go through things like, oh God, you know, why are you allowing me to experience this? You know, why can't my life be plain sailing? Why can't I have this? Why can't I do that? Why can't I be this way? And you're really missing the point, because during your storm, what God is doing is He is qualifying you. He's qualifying you to be used for greater good, to be a blessing. He's qualifying you for your ministry and purpose. And it really made me think, because the person that I am now is very, very different to the person that I was in 2008 before my storm hit. You know, I am a lot stronger. I'm a lot wiser. I'm a lot more fuller, authentic. I'm a lot more me. I can support people in ways that I, never could have even dreamed of before. I'm a much more truer version of who God created me to be because of that refining fire. And so some of you may be going through something, and people may be saying to you, if you had faith, then you wouldn't be going through that. And that's a lie. That's absolute crap. Faith doesn't stop you from going through a storm. Faith keeps you and refines you in the process of it, so that you can come out being the person that God has created and designed you to be. So there was something else that I watched a couple of days ago. Prophetess Jacqueline Annie, she basically spoke a little bit about this. And she said that some of you are going through a process into kind of being qualified as a prophet or a seer. And I would kind of use this for anything, really. Some of you are going through a process, and God is qualifying you into ministry. And that process doesn't feel good, but that process is about you learning how to stand in faith and trust in God, and really operate from that place of deep trust and knowing that He is able. And not everybody can do that. Not everybody can get to that place. And that's the difference between theoretical learning, you learn something, and exploration. Exploration is about knowing, is about having experience of something that nobody could ever take away from you. So that when somebody comes to you and they're going through that same storm that you went through, you are in that place to really give them that support, the wisdom, and the tools that you need. I really wanted to jump on today and really just say that God qualified. And even if you are going through a storm, I want you to look at that as God doing something, God doing something amazing, and He actually qualifying you to go out, reach people, reach nations, touch people in a way that you would never have been able to do before. So just hold on tight, believe, trust, hope, hold on, hope. It says faith, hope, love. So have these as your key ingredients to hold on. And I know at the end of it, you'll be much more qualified and suited to working with the people that God has ordained for you to work with. Okay, so that's my message for today. Take care. God bless. And I will jump on again next week.